Welcome back. Uh, you're a pharmacist. A huge percentage of essential drugs are still being imported. Nigerian companies seem unable to bridge the gap between demand and supply. A lot has been said about the fact that power is a problem of industries in Nigeria, including pharmaceutical industries. But isn't that simplistic and one-dimensional?
Sure, I agree with you, 100%. But I want to make a point that Nigeria has come a long way. We've come a long way. I knew when I graduated in 1976, you can count the manufacturing companies in your fingertips. Sometimes we don't appreciate where we're coming from to where we are now. We could do better, but we've come a long way. We import drugs because the cost of manufacturing is high. So people now have generics. Now, we've gotten to a stage that both generics and the products that are non-generics, the original ones, what they call original, they are what we call bioequivalent. That is, they have the same impact, the same effect. So bioequivalence is a way whereby an organization like NAFDAC will carry out tests and see what percentage of a capsule that you take, say you take 1 gram, 2 times 500 milligrams, what percentage of that is available to be able to attack the disease in your body? The range that is acceptable is between 85% and 100. Bicham product may be 100%, which means when somebody is very sick, I will take what will give me 100% because I need to be well very fast. But if somebody can get the 85 and build up, why not? So now those that import generics, they import them because there's market for the drugs that are lower priced. The ones that are higher, that are made in Nigeria, you are sure of the product, you are sure they cannot be fake, you are sure of the quality, you are sure that the storage has not reduced the efficacy of the drug, because bringing drugs from abroad has a lot of hazards. You don't know under what condition they store the drug before they get them here, and they don't fly most drugs. They ship them. We don't do raw materials in Nigeria. That's another thing, which the petrochemical industry is trying to address. We've had several ministers of petroleum say petrochemical industry is going to come up. Maybe there will be action. Action is needed. There's no doubt about it. And perhaps should be private sector driven. We have a lot of propensity to get raw materials in the country. Starch and all that, cornstarch can be used for tableting, granulation, and so on. All those technical terms that we use for disintegration of drugs and things. We can get them here. Do we get them here? No. Because we don't have all the other aspects of the manufacturing to be able to complement, to make it cheap enough for industry to buy. If I'm making raw materials, I want the industry to buy. The industry wants to make profit. He will not buy from me because I'm making in Nigeria. He will buy from me because I have the same product that he wants to get from Britain of the same quality and of a good price. At the best, let it be equal price, but it's always higher.
You were a civil servant for a long time. What is wrong with the Nigerian civil service? Why do people complain all the time? What have you found to be the problem?
I won't say that the Nigerian civil service, something is wrong. I will not say so. I'm not being defensive of the service. The civil service streamlines you to make you disciplined because there are rules and guidelines that follow civil service practice. So once in a while, you have a lot of issues within the service, and it's not outside the entire country. It could be better discipline, because discipline is the key. Knowledge is already there, that's why you're absorbed. So what we find that is really wrong is we don't serve the people, we govern the people, but we are servants. Perhaps that's where people think something is wrong. But that is the same thing all over the country, even in the private sector. You go to the postal service and you're waiting to post your letter, and then you are not well attended to. It's the same thing. Or you go to an embassy, take the section where Nigerians take charge in the embassy before you go in. You are not well treated in most cases. You want to tell somebody to stay on the line, you push and shout and everything. So we need to change our culture to respect one another. I was chairman of the Committee for Civil Service Reform under the head of service, Sally. And one of the things that we wrote in that committee report was civil service salary is bad. It is bad. A civil servant must own a house. It was during Obasanjo regime that I was able to get a house because they have to sell your house to you. And then I was not able to get enough money to pay for the house. I had to take a loan.
What do you think of the quota system and federal character?
My belief personally is don't criticize what people have done because you were not wearing the shoes when they were there. I believe that when they took that decision, it was to like create a balance in the country. It was like to feel a need of every part of the country coming together, because most of us who started at that time now have friends across the country. Now, people don't understand. What does quota system say? It says equal representation from every part of the country. What's wrong with that? I don't see anything wrong with that. It did not say you should choose those that are not qualified. And I believe there are qualified people from everywhere. Where it is wrong is if you bring unqualified people.
You were once Permanent Secretary, Career Management Office, or Office of the Head of the Civil Service. What do you think? Should permanent secretaries be permanent?
Because by the time you rise to the position of permanent secretary, you have gone far.
You were a pharmacist, for example.
Yeah.
You worked in internal affairs, you worked in Ministry of Health,
yeah,
you worked in power.
And science and technology. It was short spell. It shouldn't be short. You should have a program to be able to accomplish. Even if you have to move a permanent secretary, set goals that permanent secretary needs to achieve as the accounting officer of the ministry in every ministry they go to. So you don't just shove the person out in between achieving the goals. That is to say that by the time you are posted, there will be goals that you are posted to achieve within a time frame.
How will the Oronsai report help the civil service, and how will the zero-based budget help also? Policies are meant to be reviewed. You get what I mean? A policy is a standard way of establishing a process. And by the time it's about a couple of years, it's reviewed between 6 to 8 years, generally. So for a period, a policy can be okay. If the present administration, they have reviewed, which I hope they did, and they now find that, okay, we need to move another direction. But as of the time that President Yar'Adua approved that policy, it ventilated the civil service in the sense that there are some people who have been directors and they did not get a position for permanent secretary because it's one per state. Maybe the director may have been there for 10 years, 11 years, 12 years. The others will be DDs. It's actually very painful. It's very painful to see that you have capacity and you have nowhere to move to because there's no vacancy. So, for those who have spent many years, they were asked to leave, and the policy is about you leave, let people come. But it was equated all over the country. In other words, if it was more to some states than some states, because in many states, for example, like my state, we didn't have problem in permanent secretary because my predecessor was already 60 and had to go. If you follow civil service in the right way, I came in when I was 23. So by the time you get to director and become permanent secretary, you are near 60.